kind of enough money.
At least I don't bring my headphones in my nose. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Ready?
all.
All right. Call meeting of North Reading School Committee to order. Tonight, just FYI, the majority of our session will be spent in a budget workshop discussing the fiscal 2009 budget. But before we get to that, we'll open up the meeting with public input. If anybody would like to make a statement, ask some questions, please make yourself known and I'll call you up to the table. Okay? Thanks. Oh. Okay. We do have someone who wants to make a comment. Please state your name.
Deanna Castro, 9 Bridleway. I haven't seen some of you in a while. I just wanted to take the first opportunity I had to thank you for hosting these workshops. I've heard from a lot of parents that it's important to them that you're seeking their input, and I hope that you take that input and help set the priorities for next year. Something came to my attention last week that was very disturbing to me, and I believe it's already been brought to your attention, but I wanted to bring it up again and ask very specifically if I could get a timetable as to when it could be looked into by the school department and the school committee, and a commitment to get an answer back as soon as possible. We're all very much aware that, budget cuts eliminated positions, teacher positions, and a lot of our students in the middle school have been in study halls. We've known that since the beginning of the year. My daughter was very fortunate, if you want to call that fortunate, to have music and computers for the first 2 semesters, while other children sat in study halls once a day, every day, and then once a week, 2 times a day. My daughter just started this new semester. It is now her turn to be that unfortunate child sitting in a study hall every day, and on Tuesdays, back-to-back studies, so 2 hours a day. A decision was made, which I will hope to address Wednesday night with Mr. Hodges directly, to reinstitute a program called Town Hall at the end of the day, every other week for the entire 3rd semester. What that essentially does is puts our children in a study hall at the end of the day for an entire week. Therefore, my daughter's Monday, Thursday, and Friday schedule is now 120 out of 380 minutes a day, or 32% of her day, is lunch, study, academic intensive, or town hall. On Tuesdays, 180 out of 380 minutes, or 47% of her day, is lunch, study halls, academic intensive, or town hall. On Wednesdays, which is a half day, 80 out of 260 minutes, or 31% of her day, is in lunch or G block. The situation was already bad enough. I cannot understand how a decision like this was made. My daughter is sitting in 3 hours of study halls on Tuesdays, 2 hours every other day. This is not what the North Reading school system is about. So I'd like to understand how that decision was made, why it was made, and get an idea of when I'll get an answer back.
I think that's a good question. I think Dr. Troughton would have to look into that, because we were, as a committee, and Dr. Troughton was informed at the beginning of the school year, or this summer, that the town meeting was no longer going to happen, and that those last periods were going to be used for an extra period of a subject each day. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you raised that, because it's the first I've heard of it. I don't know about the rest of the committee, but hopefully there's a good reason. But I agree with you. My son is in that same situation this quarter with 6 study periods, and so it's an issue. And did you say it was 1 day a week, or?
No, the town hall study halls are added at the end of each day for 5 days every other week. For the entire 3rd semester is what I understand.
If other periods
if it goes for 1 more week, I think it's a tragedy.
Can I respond?
Yes.
First with a question, Deanna. How were you notified of this?
My daughter.
Your daughter. And how was your daughter notified of this?
She came home and she said, and I quote, "Well, to make matters worse, Mom, I now have another study hall every day at the end of the day. It's called Town Hall, and we're required to read for 20 minutes, and the rest of the time we can do our homework." That's how it was communicated to me.
I have not had a chance to speak with Mr. Hodges about this. I know at the third budget forum last
That's
week,
right, on Thursday.
one of the parents did bring it up, and I know there was some question on our part because the way the middle school schedule, everything you said, Deanna, was correct. As unfortunate as it is with some students having the double study halls, particularly in the 6th grade, but the last period of the day, the so-called G block, on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, was designed to be a second time when one of the 4 core classes, English, language arts, math, science, and social studies, that the class would meet again at the end of the day.
Right.
So it was intended to, on one day a week, extend, basically give a double period of time to each one of the core classes. A Wednesday, the final period of the day was continued to be the advisor-advisee program on Wednesday. And so that did come up, that is, this change came up, and there was some reference to students who had not done well or as well academically, and that I did have a chance to, without fully getting to the level that you've just presented every other week, 4 days a week, that I believe I asked Mr. Hodges about it, and he indicated to me that the teachers at the grade level were concerned about the number of students who were not doing well and needed to do something about that during that time period. But I was not aware that it was 4 times a week that was happening. And so we'll certainly follow up on that, because that's not what is designed to happen. And as we all know, we have shaved the minutes of learning time. And so in order for any change to occur, to be approved, it would have to fall within structured learning time. And structured learning time means that a teacher is in charge, that there are meaningful assignments that are being given, that a teacher is supervising that, and that learning is assessed. That's the definition of learning time, structured learning time. And so we've certainly brought down the total of hours, but to do what you're indicating here would jeopardize time and learning, and to certainly will not be allowed to happen. So you've provided some more detail tonight, and thank you, and I certainly will check into that.
I had been informed of one change, and that was that for all the study periods, they were requiring that the kids read a book for the first 20 minutes.
Right.
I think that's good, at least we're keeping them busy, but we still don't want the study periods. And as Dr. Trout said, thanks for bringing this to your attention. I, like Dr. Trout, was under the impression that it was only for a select group of kids that, quote, needed extra help or something like that. So Dr. Trout will look into it, and we'll get an answer for you.
And understand one thing, I mean no ill will to Mr. Hodges. I'm going to bring this up Wednesday night
Right.
at the middle school meeting. This meeting just happened to come first, and I wanted to make you aware of it. I do think that time is of the essence. We do not need children in additional study halls. We need to increase their time in learning, and so I just wanted to bring it up as a priority just because of the timing of this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to address the committee? Lab, state your name.
Good evening, my name is Michelle Syed, 364 Park Street. Pretty new to town government. I'm a recently sworn in citizen, and so all of this is very new to me. I'm very, very, very worried, to put it mildly, about the situation of the schools, and in particular as well the middle school. I have 4 children. One is in 7th grade, and before I came to the meeting I did ask him you know, about his study halls, and he again said every day except for Wednesday, and I think there was double study halls for the 7th graders as well on 7 of the days. So I just wanted to, you know, voice my support for Deanna and just urge you to really reconsider the amount of study halls, in particular the 7th grade, the middle school students are getting, and also, you know, when it comes time to do your budget tonight or to look at it, please reconsider the half days and Wednesdays. It's just, it's a crisis situation, I think, at this point. Kids are walking all over town, there's kids getting into trouble, unfortunately the children, when it started at the beginning of the year, I told my kids, this isn't just a half day for you to have play dates and stuff, you're going to do some learning at home, but they're like, we're the only ones that are doing that. All my friends are going to Bonkers, or we're going, and it's just setting a bad tone for them. They just view it that that's the norm now, that education is kind of bottom of the list. And you know, I can speak for a large majority of my friends that moved to North Reading. We didn't move for the police or for the fire because it was a safe town, but we moved for education. And I urge you, as the school committee, I think you're the advocates for our children, and I urge you to really give it some serious thought tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else? Okay, at this point, we'll move to our student report, and we have Amelia Palmer here. She's a member of the class of 2010, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, for athletics, this is the last week of girls basketball, and the boys varsity basketball has made states. The girls cheerleading and the girls track have won the Cal champs, and the swim season is now over. Maskers right now is doing door-to-door fundraising, and the Political Awareness Club has hung up presidential candidate posters throughout the school, and they did a mock election, and the results was Obama and McCain won. For trips, last Monday, SAD officers and a couple members went to a youth leadership field trip, and a law and psychology class went on a field trip to Middlesex County House of Correction. And this Thursday, the foreign exchange trip to Mexico will start. Last Thursday, there was an open house at the high school for middle school students and their parents, and they got to see the clubs and the sports and activities the school has to offer. And report cards were released to homes. And lastly, vacation starts Friday.
Yes.
Yes.
One comment. I find it interesting, Obama and McCain won
Right.
the
From
poll
the kids and
Right,
the adults.
considering the election results in town.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. You guys are independent thinkers.
I think, well, I don't know if you mentioned it, but did you mention the girls and boys indoor track teams? I think they either both tied or won their divisions in the KPN League, the small schools. Did you mention that?
Girls track one, yeah.
Girls track, I think boys track might have tied
Yeah.
for us.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Any questions? No questions? Okay.
And then for my
Oh, right, your schoolwork, right?
for my schoolwork, in my chemistry class, we were just given a new project 2 classes ago, and it's to do a PowerPoint presentation, and we were each given an element, and mine is nickel. And rather than doing a 3rd quarter exam, this PowerPoint will make up for it, so it's a big project for the term. And in it, we have to mention the history, like who discovered it, when, where, and how. 3 current uses of the element in detail, and how it's isolated, how it was first isolated and manufactured, and any interesting facts about it. And it's due right after vacation, so we have about 2 weeks to do it.
You love that, right
I know,
after
right
vacation.
after vacation.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And then when it's due, every kid will present their PowerPoint in class.
Don't forget the nickel cadmium battery.
Oh,
Very big,
I
very
did
big.
research
And of
today.
course-
Rechargeable batteries.
Rechargeable batteries,
Yeah.
yes.
And of course, the nickel.
And the nickel, right.
I don't know, is there any nickel left in that?